Today, we're going to look behind the scenes of JavaScript and learn how variables are born, when they start living, and when they disappear.
Wait, variables are like people. First they're born, then grow up and disappear?
In a way, yes. Every variable has its own life cycle, and if you don't understand it, you can run into weird bugs and scratch your head for hours.
Okay, I'm ready. Start from the very beginning. How does a variable's life even begin?
It all starts with a declaration. Imagine a stage. The variable steps into the spotlight. So far, we only know its name, but not what we'll do or store.
Like a newborn, it already has a name, but no personality yet?
Great analogy. At this point, the variable sort of exists, but it's empty. It gets a spot in memory, but it hasn't been given a value yet.
And what stage is that?
That's creation. JavaScript already knows the variable will exist and reserves memory for it.
And then?
Then comes initialization. That's the moment you give the variable a value, like giving a person a job or role. You're Harry and you're a developer.
Okay, so first comes declaration, then assigning a value. Can I do both at once?
Of course. That's what most people do. Let user equals Harry. Name and role all at once.
And what if I just write let user?
Then you just reserve the space, like booking a hotel room, but not checking in yet. The variable exists, but it's undefined. No one's moving yet.
And what happens before the code starts running? Are things already created?
That's where it gets interesting. Hoisting. It's the mechanism of lifting variables.
Lifting? Like in an elevator?
Sort of. Imagine JavaScript walks through your code before running and lifts all the declarations of variables and functions to the top.
So if I write a variable at the bottom but use it at the top, it's still somehow declared?
Yes, but only declared, not assigned. That's why if you try to use it before assigning, you'll get undefined, not an error.
Whoa. Does this work for all variables?
No, and here's where things get tricky. It depends on how you declare the variable, using var, let, or const.
Oh, the familiar trio. And what's different about their lives?
Var is the old guy. It really does get lifted to the very top. It's declared in advance and gets a value later. Let and const are newer. They're also seen in advance, but you can't touch them until the line where they're declared.
Wait, seen but not accessible.
That's called the temporal dead zone. It's like an area where you're not allowed to enter yet, even though you know it's there.
So the variable sort of exists, but you can't touch it?
Exactly. Let and const fall into this zone, between the start of a block and the line. They're declared on. Try to use them early, and you'll get an error.
It's like showing up early to a meeting and finding the door still locked?
Perfect image.
And when does a variable die?
When it leaves its scope, like a function or block. Imagine leaving a room. Everything you left behind disappears. JavaScript clears the memory.
Like switching off the light and everything vanishes.
Exactly. And if a variable is global, it lives until the program ends. That's why you shouldn't clutter up the global space, or your house will get crowded and chaotic.
I think I get it. Variables live, work, and then disappear. And that's totally normal.
That's how order works. Without it, chaos. So, we already know that variables are created, initialized, and eventually disappear. But let's dig into a few more important details to become real masters of scopes. And let's summarize everything we've discussed.
I'm ready. Of course. Let's get started.
Let's talk about the different ways to declare variables, because this affects how exactly a variable lives.
Right, we have var, let, and constant. I remember.
Exactly. But each one has its own features in its life cycle.
Let's start with var.
Great. Var is the old style. When you declare a variable using var, it is hoisted to the top of the function, gets initialized with undefined, and is available throughout the whole function, even if declared inside a block.
So var is like an old man who leaves his stuff all over the house.
Haha, exactly. Even if you put his things in one room, somehow they show up all over the house.
Sounds messy.
It is. That's why, as we already said, var is rarely used today, mostly found in old code.
And what about let and const?
They're much tidier. When you declare a variable with let or const, it is hoisted to the top of the block, but stays in the temporal dead zone until the actual line of declaration, and is only accessible inside the block with curly braces.
So they're like modern cabinets. You open them, put things inside, and close them. Everything stays in place.
Exactly. No scattered stuff.
What's the difference between let and const?
Let allows you to change the value of the variable. Const doesn't.
Like let is a backpack. You can put different things in it. And const is a sealed safe. Whatever you put in, stays in.
Another spot-on comparison. If you want to change the value later, use let. If you want to fix the value permanently, use const.
And what happens if I try to change a const?
You'll get an error, like trying to break into someone else's save without the code.
All right, I'll be careful.
Now, an important point. Don't confuse changing a value with changing an object's content.
What? Explain.
If you declare an object with const, you can't reassign the whole object, but you can change its internal properties.
So you can't throw away the safe, but you can rearrange what's inside?
Exactly.
Programming is basically full of cabinets and safes.
And the order inside them.
What else is important to remember about the life cycle of variables?
It's important to know when a variable is created, when and where it's accessible, and when it disappears.
Like keeping track of kids.
Yeah, something like that.
Can a variable live longer than necessary?
If you create a global variable without a real need, yes. It will hang in memory until the end of the program, even if it's no longer needed.
So it's better to store everything locally, in your rooms, to avoid turning the house into a warehouse?
Exactly.
All right, from now on, I'm definitely keeping an eye on my variables.
And that's the right thing to do. Next, we'll strengthen this topic even more. All right, we're almost at the end. There's just one last important part about the life cycle of variables.
I'm ready. What's next?
Let's remember what happens before the code actually runs. JavaScript prepares the stage, creates variables, sets up functions, and hoists decorations to the top.
It's like backstage work before a big play?
Exactly. But variables behave differently depending on how you declare them.
Var, let, and const again.
Yes. Here's the deal. Var is created immediately and is available throughout the function. Let and const are also created early, but you can't use them until the code reaches their decoration.
That's the temporal dead zone, right?
Exactly. It's like a restricted zone. You know it's there, but you can't enter until the right moment.
And this helps avoid weird bugs?
It does. It keeps your code clean and predictable.
When does a variable disappear?
When it goes out of its scope. For example, you create a variable inside a function. Once the function finishes, the variable is gone.
Like a soap bubble, appears and then pops.
Perfect metaphor. That's how memory gets freed up to keep your program running smoothly.
What if I forget and create a million global variables?
Then your program will turn into a junkyard. Everything cluttered, memory overloaded, and it'll be hard to find anything.
Sounds like a total mess at home.
Exactly. That's why you should always limit the scope of your variables. The smaller the visibility, the better.
Got it. More local, fewer problems.
Exactly. Imagine you have a secret box in your room. You wouldn't carry it all over the house, right?
Can you manually delete a variable?
No need. Just let it go out of scope, and JavaScript will clean it up for you.
What about global variables?
They stick around until the program ends. And global variables are the #1 cause of memory leaks.
Whoa. What's a memory leak?
It's when unused data keeps piling up in memory because nothing cleans it out. Your program slows down, acts weird, and might even crash.
That's scary.
That's why one of the best habits for a developer is to limit the scope of variables as much as possible.
Like having small lockers for every little thing. No giant messy baskets in the middle of the house.
Exactly. The smaller the variables reach, the easier it is to manage your program.
And fewer chances to mess things up.
Right. Fewer chances to overwrite something, make a mistake, or run into strange bugs.
Are there any golden rules for variables?
Of course. Remember, always declare variables with let or constant. Use const if you don't plan to change the value. Declare variables as close as possible to where you use them. Minimize the number of global variables.
Clear and simple.
And one more thing, be careful when copying objects or arrays. Even if the variable looks new, the content might still be linked somewhere else.
Sounds complicated.
Don't worry, we'll cover that separately. For now, just master the basic lifecycle.
Phew, my brain is boiling, but this is awesome. I really feel like I understand variables now.
You're doing great. Now, variables will listen to you, not the other way around.
Thanks, James. That was really interesting.
And this is just the beginning. There's so much more exciting stuff ahead.
I can't wait.